What's up? What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to Structure Live, where we're gonna be talking about House of the Dragon, episode 2, The Rogue Prince. How are you doing, Mr. E?
What's up? What's up? I am doing very well, good sir. Thank you very much, Lion. It's been a crazy weekend, and we have cherry on top with the House of Dragons. Uh, Amazing episode this week. Can't wait to talk about it. But
Yeah, no, it
first,
was it was a slow cooking, but it definitely I think delivered at the end. But before we get into all of that, you have a message for our sponsors, right?
that's right. That's right. This episode is brought to you by 3E Customs. They will print for you, whether it's t-shirts, cups, or any other promotional item. They can get it done in a quick amount of time as well. Go to the website 3ecustoms.com.
That's right.
H.
Check the guys out at 3 Custom. Thank you so much for the sponsorship. And we are gonna be talking about the show today. So we had a lot of people in the last live show that we did for the episode 1, the premiere episode, which numbers are in. Over 10 million people watched the show live. Not our
That's wild.
show, hopefully one day. But the actual House of the Dragon premiere on HBO, and over the week, 19.3 million viewers, probably more by now, have watched the episode. This is now this is from the guys at the Hollywood Reporter, right? This is now the highest viewed premiere on in HBO's history. This is even bigger than Game of Thrones by a little bit. The second closest was episode this last year was one of the Euphoria episodes, and that was like around 3 to 5 million viewers. So this is insane. These are massive numbers. There is that interest on this show. You know what's funny about this, Mystery?
What's that?
That ever since Game of Thrones ended, every streaming service has been looking for that silver bullet, that Game of Thrones of their own.
They have.
You
They
have
have.
Prime Video, they have Wheel of Time. Now they have the Lord of the Rings show starting out. You have HBO tried multiple other shows, very similar in the fantasy world, like his Dark Materials, among other shows.
Mhm.
We have Netflix with The Witcher, which is a great show. We love The Witcher over here, but I don't think it's
Yep.
causing the waves that this is causing, because this literally is the new Game of Thrones, the House of the Dragon, just a prequel of the story, and it's definitely delivering.
I mean, hell yeah. Absolutely, Lion. It is delivering, and well done. All the viewership and their success is well received because they do such a great job. And I don't know if it was because they created so many fans with Game of Thrones, or if because of the way that it ended. Whatever, people wanted more. They had a winning recipe. Other stations tried to copy, they couldn't. HBO has brought it back, and they're doing it better than they did the first time. Kudos to them.
No, they're doing great numbers, and let's see if the same audience crosses over to episode 2, which was a change of pace. Now we have more character development. We had different topics throughout the story, and we're creating that tension here. Also, we got our first comment of the day. Oh, Mr. Sharper Coder Blog. Thank you for
What's up, man?
stopping by, my man. Hope you enjoy the show. Thank you so much for stopping by last week as well.
What's going on? What's going on? Always good to see you, the sharper coder blogger. Blog rather. I always say wrong. Sharper coder blog. Always good to see you, man.
Well, for
Much
sure.
appreciated. We appreciate it.
So the
Uh,
gauntlet has been thrown. Yes, it has for sure. By the way, talking about a gauntlet. So last week I made the Lions Den challenge to the Cowboy, and he accepted on his show. We're gonna be setting up the date for that. We're gonna have some trailers ready for him, and then we're gonna have the Cowboy back on the show to accept the Lions Den challenge. We're gonna show him some shows from HBO Max. He says there's no value on HBO Max at all. We're gonna show him
oh,
some trailers, and we're gonna bring him over, and then he's gonna try HBO Max for a month. He's gonna let us know if his mind's changed or not. So we'll see how that goes for him. With that said, Mystery, I do have a very important question for you because we're chilling, we're relaxing. We just had a great time watching the show. This episode definitely did it for me, at least. Let me ask you, what is in your cup?
Huh? What cup? You mean this cup, H?
That cup, yep.
Well, let me tell you, Lion. It all started on Saturday. I celebrated. That's how you know this is a long story. Big shout out to my uncle. Me and my super large family celebrated my uncle's 60th birthday. And you know, it's post pandemic. It's been a while since the whole family got together, so we had a big celebration, and it was absolute madness. And you know, not that much alcohol. Just joking. There's plenty of alcohol involved, and it was super late. So tonight I'm going super light and fancy. I got some champagne in here. I believe it's Cava Brut in here because I can't do any hard liquor tonight.
You got that pinky up with that with that champagne for real.
Yeah.
I'm taking it easy. So I'm actually just doing a little white claw. You know, I gotta keep those carbs down a little bit, but we're gonna have some fun because I definitely enjoyed the episode today. But let me take a sip real quick.
Yeah. And while he's doing that, big shout out to my Uncle Eric. Happy birthday. Wish you many more. It was great fun last night.
Certainly was. Wish I was there. But anyway, let's get into the meat of things. So the episode starts with a very nasty scene. And this is just typical of this series, of this family of shows, Game of Thrones, right? We have a bay with a bunch of crabs eating people out. That is a terrible way to go. These guys are hammered down to some kind of post, and then crabs are walking all over, just picking on them. I cannot imagine going out.
Lion, can you repeat that? You said you have a bunch of crabs eating people out. Is that what you said?
They are, man. You know, all kinds of ways, everywhere. I know you. Hey, listen.
Phrasing. Go ahead.
It's a terrible way to go. That is not a way. That's not something you want to experience for sure. Having imagine how painful that is. Yeah. The one guy is like, "Oh no, like man, like just let me go." Like just.
I mean,
just make it quick.
The visual and the graphics was terrible. All jokes aside, it was a horrible way to go. And it seems like this is that guy's thing. What do they call him? The crab feeder is his name.
The crab people from the free. I forgot what they call.
I thought it was crab feeder or something like that. But this is definitely his stick, and they nail people to the post and let the crabs eat them whole, which is absolute madness. That's got to be excruciating.
And you know what's funny? That scene, it seemed, you know, that's just a war that's happening in the kingdom. But that scene, that war plays into what's happening at the end of the episode, where allegiances are going to be tested. Then from there, the conversation shifts to what is the king going to do to attack this, because it's affecting the trade lines, right? But the people want the king to remarry. They don't want a female queen or a female ruler, which, funny enough, if we think back at the previous episode, when Viserys became king, he wasn't the person that should have been king, right? Should have been his sister, the queen who never was.
Yeah.
Who's married to Corlys, or I don't know if they're cousins or sister. So she was passed over because no one wanted a female ruler. They wanted him to be. He ended up being the one that came out to be king. Now this time around, he shows his daughter to be the ruler, if his heir, right? But we have that conversation between. Let me see. Make sure I don't butcher the names because I'm still fresh with the names in my mind. We had Rhaenys and what's her name was Rhaenys and Rhaenyra talking, where we have a little confrontation. They're like, you know, they're never going to accept you. Rhaenys tells Rhaenyra, we're never going to accept you as the ruler. Or like, oh, it's different because they already accepted me. They already shows me. And this, I do believe this conversation plays into what she does later on, where she tries to prove herself. If I'm not getting too ahead of myself.
Oh, yeah. It absolutely plays into that moment. And if we took it back, like a step back, what Rhaenyra was watching was her dad courting Corliss's daughter for a possible arranged marriage between the families.
Let's talk about this. That was such a cringe moment to have a
ex-
little kid
exactly.
talking about like marriage and like that was. I mean, in
She would,
Game of that's in good Game of Thrones fashion. Like those very uncomfortable scenes about family situations that we don't really deal with that nowadays. At least in
and
the
it
day to
just,
day
they just,
life.
yeah, just the whole idea of the dad giving up his daughter, who's not even a teenager yet, as a pawn and as a way to empower his family and giving her up. She's what is she? She's not 14. We know that. She's younger than that, and it seemed like she was 12 or maybe even younger
Most
than
likely,
12
yeah.
years old, right? Because we know that because she said, "My mom told me I won't have to bed
I'm
you until
14.
I'm 14,"
Oh,
which is just like he's
awful.
talking to, yeah, it's awful. He's talking to a kid,
And that
and
related.
yeah, exactly. And the whole time, his daughter is over watching this, and she doesn't know how to feel about it. She doesn't know where she fits into the picture. And then her aunt steps in and says, "You don't fit into the picture. You are going to be pushed out the picture. Watch, because that's what happened to me." So yes, Lion, I agree with you. Rainier, from that point on, here's how you know, because in one of the earlier scenes when they were talking about strategy because of the different things that were going on in the realm and whether Valerian Corlys should bring his navy to handle the crab people and stuff that was going on there. Rhaenyra had stepped in and gave a suggestion and whatnot, and they didn't take her seriously. So this time, with that information that her aunt had given her, she knew that she had to be taken seriously, and she had to show that she has what it takes to be the leader of that kingdom, which she later on did when she stood up to her uncle.
By the way, Dash, yes, thank you for letting us know. Dash letting us know that the little girl is 12 years old, so she would have
Thanks.
will be 2
Yeah.
years until he could better. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a very cringe scene. I was like, you
Exactly.
make one of those faces. But one thing that we talked about last week was that Alicent was making her play. Her dad's pushing her to be, in the orbit of the king, in order for him to notice her, and he is. He's enjoying the company. The man's wounded. He just lost his wife by a decision that he had to make that did not pay off the way he wanted. So Allison is trying to make her play. What do you
Is
think,
anybody?
Kimsey?
He. Oh, there's no question that Allison is trying to make a play.
But she did.
What I'm more, she did successfully. What I'm more bothered about is her dad. Right, her dad is always getting in the middle of things. He's always second guessing the king, and he's trying to usurp his power by changing his decision. Like the king decided to go down and confront his brother. Nope. I'm going to go. I'm going to take that power, and if I'm successful, I'm going to take that recognition. I'm the face of the kingdom, and in everything that he does. So he has to be involved in it. I know he's the king's hand, right? But he's. I think he sort of oversteps his bounds a lot because he is power hungry. So much so that he makes his daughter go into the bedroom of his friend, who is the king, in order for her to be the queen, get married, and his family be raised in power. They're already up there, but he wants to elevate to royal status.
No, I mean he wants to. He's the hand of the king, so he want to maintain the power. And this is how this family think about the Lannisters, right? From Game of
Yeah.
Thrones. This is how they ensure that their family is at the top of the food chain, which is essentially the Game of Thrones here, where this political moves are being made. And on top of that, the other topic that was being dealt with in the episode was Daemon making a move. Daemon made his first move by stealing a dragon's egg, attacking one of the boats from the kingdom, and creating that tension. And what this does is that it shows how far he's willing to go. Because he's risking full out war with his brother because he wants to be king so bad. He wants that. He feels that he should have had it. He even mentioned at some point in the episode, being king was never my brother's strong forte. So What do you
Yo,
think of that stare down between the Hand of the King and Daemon Targaryen?
well, I think first and foremost, the Hand of the King, he was he was on the losing end of that battle until Rhaenyra came into the scene, right? So, which is why he told his army to sheathe their swords, or sleeve their swords, or whatever, right? So he already did the math and calculated that things aren't going to go well. Even if he wins, the army is still be weakened and have a black eye, which will encourage more people to go after him. So he decided, which is sort of like the way that the king was going, is like, I'm not going to do anything. He decided not to do anything at that moment. And I don't know if what's her name had came in, whether she would have had, whether Hightower would have had any other options to go about it, which
He was
is
gonna have to go home with his tail in between his legs because he tried
exactly,
to make a power move to show
yeah,
Daemon, you are nothing, you're just a bastard, right? Daemon had a dragon waiting for for the whole army. Like if you make a move, you're just gonna get burned down. So they had, if they would have gone into a conflict at that particular moment, you would have seen the Hand of the King be completely obliterated, and you would have seen a war start right at that particular moment. But
like
Rhaenyra showing up saved the day. She
save
stood
the
up,
day.
she pulled up, and go, "What are you gonna do? What are you
Yo,
gonna do right now?
exactly.
Hand
I
the
mean,
egg back and calm down." You know,
yo, she came in there like the number one stunner. She came in on her dragon, just walked down the road, walked up to her uncle, and like you said, punked him. What you gonna do? Do it now. I thought so, and then got back on the dragon and left. I'll check y'all later. Straight gangster. I mean, that was a boss move by Rhaenyra for sure. Lion, there's one thing I don't know if everybody got it. And hold on, before I get to that thing, um, we did say this last week that this was a potential act that the brother was going to do, and Daemon, and he did. But moving on, did anybody catch the king? And when he's still having trouble. Remember, his hand got cut, right? And he was having trouble with the healing. There is
he's rotting away. So
exactly.
I'm glad you pointed that out because I kind of forgot when I watched the scene, so I rewinded it. I was like, oh, so I am thinking that this is all part of a long play by Daemon. When he was in the last episode, you guys remember, he was sitting on the throne when Rhaenyra shows up to the throne room, and his hands is on those blades, those sharp blades. And I'm thinking, you know what, my brother probably has these mannerisms. I'm gonna have to expedite his expiration date, and he probably put something in there, some kind of poison, because somehow he's running away. This could be that virus from, if you remember back on Game of Thrones when they were traveling to through Valeria, to the ruins of Valeria. There's some kind of rot or sickness that people get that could, it basically turns you into some kind of beast or monster that they have to remove scale by scale. So this may be what's happening here. If you guys are in the comments, you guys think this was happening, that this is some kind of ploy by Daemon to expire his brother a little bit quicker, just let us know in the comments.
I definitely think that that's one plausible, and there's something fishy going on there, for sure, because that was just a little scrape. That should heal. There's no plausible reason why, if I get a paper cut, it doesn't heal on its own. Nobody's skin has rotted away from a paper cut, even in medieval times, even though they didn't have paper back then. So there's a deeper narrative going on for that, and we'll see how it manifests itself later on. But there's definitely something there. The director would not take time to show the king sticking his hands in a bunch of maggots to heal if there wasn't a deeper story.
No, and that's what's interesting about the show, because they're showing these little sections, right, that may seem insignificant. If you just watch it, if you just casually watch, you're sitting on your couch, your legs are up, you're having a drink like we are having right now, and you watch that scene, you don't think too much of it. But that little mention of like, oh, he's got a cut, like, ouch. And then a little, how long was that section? Like maybe a minute? maybe 30 seconds,
30
and they
seconds.
just show the kings hang with the maggots. Oh, you think less or you don't think, but they're building up to something. Maybe it's gonna pay off at the end of the episode, at the end of the season, or it's
Yeah.
gonna pay off maybe in the next episode. Who knows? Because that day I did notice that time seems to be moving fairly quickly in regards to this.
Lion, can we jump a little bit? Did you see the previews for the upcoming week's episodes?
Oh, by the way,
No.
before we go into that, thank you so much for putting that down there. The Sharper Color blog says that in the novels, the Iron Throne is known to be uncomfortable and cause many cuts that can get infected. Thank you so much for pointing that out. That may be something that they are grabbing from the books and bringing that into the show. And someone like us, we haven't really read that particular book, didn't know about. I was thinking maybe this is in relation to something that Damon is trying to do, some kind of plot to eliminate his brother.
Maybe, but yo, that's great insight. Yeah, those blades on the throne. Yep, could even be rusted, which would be worse. Yes.
Russell, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think they had Lysol back then or in the show in that timeline.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to get cut by rusty metal. That's a very good point. That also could be a factor, but it's definitely an issue for sure with the king. And I want to jump ahead because in the previews, they showed it in the preview, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Rhaenyra's aunt's prediction seems to come true. Actually, did we touch on? Let me rewind it back. I know I'm jumping.
Let's deal with what happened in the episode first, and then a little later on, let's deal with the preview.
So let's jump into the fact that Rhaenyra and her best friend
Alicent, Alicent Hightower.
Now they are going to have some type of restructuring of their relationship, right? Because Alicent is.
She didn't like that.
Yeah, she saw it, right? She saw it before he even said it. She was like, "Hold on, wait a minute. Why is he looking over there?" Her father to her best friend. Yeah, it's because her father is going to marry her best friend, and does that make her best friend her stepmother now? If she has a son, does that make, or a kid in general, does that make her an aunt to her best friend's child?
Yeah, that's what it is.
And more so to the point, does that make her second heir to the throne behind the son that her best friend is going to have?
And that's the plan. Literally, the plan for the king to marry someone else is so the king can have a new heir, preferably a male. And if the king and Alicent, which Alicent is of an age that she can give birth, if she was to get pregnant and give a son to the king, this would put Rhaenyra in the back burner. She would become just like her aunt, like a queen that never was, or someone that just passed down. She will forever be a princess. So the funny thing about that scene is that Rhaenyra was cool with her father announcing that he wants to get married. You know, she gave the blessing. Go ahead and do your thing. She's thinking she's gonna marry a 12-year-old. They're never. By the time they have a kid, I'll be queen, etc., etc. No, he's marrying your best friend. Her face, she didn't like it because it caught her off guard. Her friend, she realized my friend doesn't have my best interests at heart. She's making a political move, and she's about to bump me out of my seat as queen. Because at the end of the day, it seems like the most important part above family for these characters in the show is who sits at the top of the mountain. That is the number one thing here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a free for all. There's no traditional structure or anything. It's basically get as much as you can get and go as far as you can. And like we said, the king's hand saw an opportunity at the throne and he pushed his daughter into it. And now, forget about friendship. She wants to be queen. She wants her bloodline to be royal. Here it is.
And while we're talking about Rhaenyra, something that we pointed out, that we talked about last week, she now has the opportunity. She had the opportunity in this episode to select a new knight into the Kingsguard, and she's been shown all different knights with this great lineage. but she made sure she knew who she wanted from the get go. She
Yeah.
wanted the guy that was able to take on her uncle, the one that was able to defeat him. That's who she went ahead
Yeah, I
and
thought that move was
like
so
Sir
big.
Kristen Cole, I think it was. That's the one that in the jousting fight was able to best Daemon Targaryen.
For sure. I thought that move was so big because of her reasoning, which her reasoning was like all these guys are show ponies. You know, they're tournament champions, paper soldiers. They're not the real deal. I want somebody who's really been in combat and won. I want them to be I want them to be on the staff. I don't want all these guys that have no experience and that are going to
It
run
makes
with it,
sense.
get you heart. And that shows one that she's capable of being a leader. She knows how to pick quality people to stand behind her. And I
No,
thought,
those two moves. Yeah.
yeah, I thought that
That
move,
move
yeah,
and her going into taking, you know what? I know the best move here. She took matters into her hand, going to see her uncle and
yep,
selecting a knight that actually has combat experience was
yeah,
the best move, which shows that she has a good head in her shoulders. She's trying to prove herself not just to her father but to the kingdom itself. Well, when the time comes, she wants to be respected. Because let's face it, her father was to die tomorrow, and she becomes queen. She's not gonna be taken seriously, and she will most likely lose the kingdom to somebody else invading.
yeah. They're definitely going to test her. She has to show strength early and often because the men are going to attempt to run over her, and she's going to have to put her foot down and show them that that ain't the case. It's interesting what her uncle did. That I mean, you know, he doesn't. Her uncle is beefing with her dad, and that's cool. But he went as far as to fake a wedding and also fake a pregnancy. Uh, that's pretty extreme to provoke. To
That
provoke.
was hilarious. Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
Like I gotta give it to Matt Smith. Last week he impressed me. He was, in my opinion, the best character on the show. This
Hmm.
week he shows another side. He shows that he's bold, he's deranged. He's that guy that's gonna take it to the next level, to the extreme.
Hmm.
And he goes and lies like, well, yeah, I'm gonna wed this lady, and she's pregnant, and then his niece has to call him out. So you're marrying her? Yeah. Is she pregnant? Eventually, and like she called him out on his bullshit. He had to just come through and just give everything back and just throw the egg back to her. But that was kind of funny. A very serious scene towards the end turned a little bit funny just by his by the way he is. If you
Yeah.
guys, what do you guys think of that scene or that confrontation? Let us know in the comments. We'll have a discussion on that as well.
Yeah. And so what do we see at the end of the show line, right? So we take the fact that Damon is upset, and now he's like, screw my brother. I want the power. You know, before I was obedient, I was holding my position, but no more. I want the power. But I guess he didn't see a straight path towards the kingdom. And now with the double cross, because we didn't
Well,
talk about.
let's not touch on that just yet. Let's discuss Corlys first, because
Mhm.
Corlys Valerian, the shipmaster.
One of the oldest houses. Yes.
Yeah, so because it was a very interesting thing. You see, we have Corlys from the beginning, like telling the king in one of the first scenes, "Hey, let me get into this fight because I need to protect those trade lines. That trade lines affects his family's
Directly.
position in the kingdom, in the
Yep.
economy. So he doesn't want the king just to put his hands in his pocket while he's losing money out of his pockets when
Yes.
this war's going on. So like, let me in. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna attack. I'm gonna take care of business over here. We haven't also offered his daughter for marriage. We haven't trying to position himself even higher. Hey, listen, I'm one of the oldest families here, even older than Targaryens. Let's unite the family. It's gonna make us even stronger. And he's not getting anything he wanted. You could see it. Every single effort he had was shut down by the king. And at the end, the biggest insult was the king deciding to marry somebody else. And this is what we get to
I
that
think
turning of
I think there's one more
allegiance.
point. I think there's one more point we need to make is that he has a navy. And that is when you're talking about war and you got the best navy out there, that is hard to overcome by the opposition. That is something that kingdoms fall without having. And because he, you know, the king pissed him off, now that navy, which is a huge asset, is going away. I know they got the dragons, but if you know, if they can attack you by land and by sea, uh turn, you know, cut off your trading routes or whatever, put in an embargo, this is going to cause problems. So Corlys is pissed. Corlys is going to take his navy, and Daemon's going to take his army, and then they're going to, along with the dragon, and they're going to turn on the king. This is a problem. This is going to cause more problems going forward because they could go directly, or they could cause, they could have microaggressions and cause like little difficulties here and there that accumulate over time to the king and basically weaken him. I mean, that would be a smart play to do.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys as well, and you let me know in the chat in the comments. We can have a conversation about it. I like to come up with some crazy theories.
What you got?
Because so far, Viserys the First has not been the best king. He's an okay king. He's not a strong king. He's not a terrible king. He's just right in the middle. He's lukewarm, right? He's not somebody that, as a character, I've attached myself to. Mm-hmm. But what if Corlys aligning himself with Daemon Targaryen? It's a long play that the king has. He's gonna use his brother and his brother's gold cloaks, because we know he took part of the army with him, mm-hmm. to solve the situation in the with the crab feeders, with right?
The crab feeders, exactly.
And then Corlys is just gonna turn around and betray Daemon to show the king his allegiance and align himself with the king again. You think this is a long play, or am I just crazy here?
Nah, I don't see how you get any benefit from that, because his whole basis of acting is because he feels like he's been offended, right? The king disrespected him. So to turn around and then try to get validation from the king again is not what he's after. He's after justice. He's after revenge. He wants to show the king who's boss, bottom line. So that's not going to accomplish that objective. I think that they're definitely, I think it's going to be the other way around. I think you're partly right. He's going to attack the king. Both of them are going to attack the king. And then I think he's going to turn around and attack Daemon to assure that he's the one with power. That's his objective.
Well, hear me out. The reason I say this, because if this was to come to pass, it would show more character of the king, showing us why he's king and why he's an important character to the show. Otherwise, he could literally go anytime. Nobody's really going to miss him. Because that would make him, like, I think that would be a very cool, shocking moment. Let me know if you guys agree in the chat, so we can talk about it on the show here. Now, we get to this point where Corlys and Daemon are having that conversation, where we see Corlys just talking to someone. We already knew it was going to be Daemon, letting him know that, you know, I saw you as we're similar people. I saw you and I are people, you know, have a similar story. I think we should unite. We should handle this. And this is when the previews coming into play, because in those previews we already have that Corlys is betraying the king.
Yep.
We have a dragon just eliminating everybody in that particular side of the world, in the free cities and the crab feeders, and we will have a combination of Daemon Targaryen and Corlys Velaryon working together to become heroes to the kingdom, essentially. Man, what do you think is going to be happening in this next episode? What is your theory on that, Mr. E?
I think that you here's what I think is going to happen, and we didn't exactly touch on it, but I think they're going to jump ahead a little bit, and they're going to show that what Rhaenyra's best friend is pregnant with a son, and that's going to cause problems. And I at that point, I think Rhaenyra is going to have to choose a side, and maybe she does go with her uncle and join with Cornelius and the rest of them. But I think that's definitely going to be a play to what's going on as well.
This is another crazy theory. Like, guys, let me know if I'm hitting in the head here. What if? I'm just saying, what if? This is the Targaryens, and the stuff that they do is very nocturnal, very crazy, as we talked about today. But what if Rhaenyra ends up being ends up getting married to Daemon Targaryen? So it's not uncommon for family members to marry within that family, and that's what happened with Aegon the Conqueror.
Okay.
So could we see a thing where the families marry? That she ends. Alicent has a baby boy for the
Yeah.
king. Rhaenyra gets upset, and Rhaenyra wants to be queen, and she ends up marrying Daemon Targaryen, joining Daemon's side.
I think that's highly plausible. For one, and either way, they form an alliance against the king because they're both after. And honestly, that might get her to accomplish a goal because they're both after the throne. If she marries her uncle and he becomes king, so then she will become queen. So that may effectively give her her goal. So that's plausible for sure. Either way, whether there's marriage involved or not, I think they definitely team up and go against the king.
So good question. I'm gonna refer to you, Mr. E, because I think you watched the previous. I kind of browsed through them. Is Mr. Sharper Color Block says
Yes,
in the
yes, he did.
preview, did the king have a
That's what I was
son?
getting at. Yes, yes, he did. That's what I was getting at.
Oh,
Like
you
they
know,
were
missed that
when
part.
they came out the carriage. Yeah, that's the way. At least that's what the way they made it look. Which is why I'm thinking that she Rhaenyra at some point has to decide, what am I going to do? Because now my position's in jeopardy for sure, right? So what is she going to do? Is she going to stand by and watch her throne be taken away, or is she going to act against her father and her son? And if so, how does she do that? Right.
No,
So
certainly.
yeah,
You know what? By the way, Sharper Color Block, I am not completely crazy. Somebody agrees with me. It is completely possible. This would be very much a House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones type of thing, right? So, yeah, I mean, I could see that happening. Um, I don't quite remember from what I read, but I know that that would be something that would definitely shake the show to its grounds. We have in one side of the room, one side of the ring, we have Rhaenyra and we have Daemon Targaryen versus Viserys the First and Alicent Hightower defending. Man, what a tag team! What a mixed tag right there.
No, I think you're on to something, Lion, and I really like the optics on that. I'll add to your optics right now. You have those two factions pitted against each other, along with the two brothers pitted against each other, along with the two dragons pitted against each other. What do you think about that?
That would be something for the ages. I mean, we didn't really get too much dragon when we had Game of Thrones. Yeah, we had dragons, but towards the end of the show, for those
Exactly.
seasons that people don't really remember very fondly. But in this show, they're giving us dragons from the get go. So it would be very cool to see a dragon fight. I think we're gonna get it because right
Yep.
now Daemon only has one dragon. We have to assume that that the king, King Viserys the First, has his own dragons, and as well as we know the princess has her own dragon. We know Corlys has no dragon; their families are not dragon bearers, so they just have the ships and they have
That's right.
they control the sea. But that would be
Yeah.
a very cool visual if we get a fight like that, especially towards the end of the first season.
Yeah. That that would be so huge to see. It's the dragon on dragon battle, and see how they fight because we only seen them like be the bully in situations, right? So how do they fight in the air? How do they kill each other? So on and so forth, and just the graphics. How well are the graphics? Because they look cool flying in the air by themselves and everything, but you have a fight scene with the dragons. Are they going to be able to execute that well? I think that's what people want to see. I think that's going to be big, and we'll see if HBO delivers, which they usually do.
No, for sure. I mean, so far, I have to ask you, and we're gonna read the show in a second here. I think for the first to the second episode, we definitely had a change of speed in how the show progressed. You
Hmm.
told me you were like it's getting kind of like monotone until within like 5 to 10 minutes, boom, man, it just got exciting. It just got exciting again because they had
Exactly.
that slow burn, and that's something that's traditional with how they shoot these type of shows.
Hmm.
I think the show I think we may see a lower count of viewers when the numbers come out this week, going from the 10 million that watched live last week to I would say half of them were retained, and we probably will see like a whole by the week's end, 10 million people have watched this episode. What do you think?
I think that's about right. I think word to get out that this week was a little different. So uh, I think that's about right.
By the way, if you're just stopping by the show, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe, share with your friends. Um, Oh, we got a comment here from Miss Carlos Tonos. There we go. As a friend of the show, Carlos Tonos. We got the princess led to believe that there are more dragon riders. Don't forget the king's cousin was a rider as well. Very well. That's right. That's correct. So we
Nah,
will definitely see more dragons in the show, and I'm excited to see that happen coming to pass. So I don't know, man. Like it seems to me that the time wise they're progressing the show very fast because we had
yes,
people
yes.
travel to Dragonstone very quickly. We had the princess travel with the dragon to Dragonstone in the same episode, and then Corlys by the end of the episode was in Dragonstone, and then we have a preview of next week where the king may or may not have a new baby boy.
Yeah.
So by the next episode, we may see multiple dragons, whether that's gonna be defending or fighting against the crab feeders, or that may be the beginning of a rebellion or a fight between the two houses, between the within the same house or the Targaryen house.
Uh
You think
huh.
that may come to pass, Mystery?
I'm sorry. Say that again. You went in and out.
Do you think in the next episode, because we had this time frame going very very quickly, very
Uh-huh.
fast? Do you think we will see that the beginning of the war or an implosion within the House Targaryen?
I think
No,
within the
Corlys
next
cannot control dragons. That's correct, Mr. Shopper Color Block. Sorry about that.
yeah, I think within the next two episodes, I don't know if they get around to it on this episode, on the third episode, but definitely the next two for sure. I think the third episode is going to be a little bit more character development with some flares at the end, sort of like what we saw here. And I think the fourth episode is going to be action packed. That's just my prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I think they might do like a very hot episode. Then we get like a more character development, story development. Then we're gonna get more action. I mean, the next
Yeah.
episode expand out to be a little more action. That's what I see happening on the next one. But
Hmm.
very important part of the show here. I have to ask you, Mystery, what do you rate this episode?
I would give this episode an 8. A lot of character development. They didn't disappoint at the end. Everything was well executed. Strong storyline. Just not so much. I don't know why, but the word pizzazz comes to mind. So we're just gonna
The
roll
word
with
patronized.
jazz. Yeah, jazz
Had
hands.
it in the tip of my tongue.
So
I don't know, man. You still,
hey,
I think you're still running on Saturday.
yeah, seriously, forgive me. Forgive me. It was a great party.
I bet.
What are
I
your thoughts,
bet.
Lonnie? What are your thoughts?
So, on the party or the episode? I'm kidding. So,
All right.
oh,
On the
well, I have
episode.
to. I gotta say, I'm a fanboy, and I feel like I'm too biased to rate it, but I'm gonna rate it anyway. I'm gonna
Mhm.
give this episode 9 because I really, really enjoy the episode. We got a rating from Mr. Shopper Color Block. He's giving it 8.5. He's right in between.
8.5. Okay.
I,
Okay.
I agree. It was a good episode. It keeps you engaged. I can't wait to see the next episode. That's the key. When you have a show and you have an episode that really gets you, that really keeps you thinking about it. Because I watched the last episode, I was like, you know what? I cannot wait for Sunday. I was literally the episode actually released around 8:50. Oh my god! I can't go ahead and start watching right now. Let's
Yeah.
play it. And they did something that we talked about last week. I don't know if you noticed, but this is something we talked about last week, and I was very excited because we brought as a
We
topic.
did a few things. Which one was it?
It was right from the get-go. We talked about last week. Are
Oh,
we
the
gonna
theme
get an epic intro song? What would it be? Would it be a remix? Would it be this? Would it be that? And what they did was what we didn't expect it. They used the same song and they had a. I don't know if they were watching our show and they just gave us
I think they
a
were.
map that's brilliant,
Yep.
brilliant in my opinion.
Well done. Yeah, they. There's no question that they were watching our show line. You're welcome.
Sure.
HBO. You're welcome.
Let's do our own horn. You know what I'm saying?
The text is too small. Yeah. I agree. It's definitely too small, and it's a lot.
I did miss some of those conversations
Yeah.
when they were talking in the old Valerian. High Valerian. I could not. I had to keep rewinding so I can read and
Yes.
keep up with that. I wish they just do it in English. Might
Yeah.
as well. Just might as
Yep.
well. You know?
I had the same problem. I was like, pause. Got it. Okay.
No, but I was so excited that they went ahead and they did a intro that was that people enjoy. People like this is a song that we have. You know, we spent so much time watching this original show, Game of Thrones, that we are attached to, and they just kept it going for this. So as soon as I heard the ta-da-da-da, I was hooked. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
they did it. They
There
kept
it
it
is.
just the way we wanted.
There it is. Yo.
No,
Uh,
and like let's think about next week. So for this week, we're gonna have a little bit of an announcement. We're gonna schedule what the Lions Den challenge is gonna when the Lions Den challenge is gonna be with the Cowboy. We gotta work on that. We're gonna be doing the review on Sunday, so make sure you share this, bring your friends over so we
Yeah.
can have
Bring
a
it
conversation. If anybody in the chat has a question, want to bring in a comment, put it in the comments now. We're gonna be closing down the show in a few minutes here. But Mr. E,
Yes.
what are you excited for the next episode?
Oh, there's no question that I am excited to see how Rhaenyra reacts if, in fact, she has a baby brother by her best friend. A quick question: does that mean that mothers can be best friends with their daughters? Sorry, couldn't resist, but it's going to cause conflict. So we'll see what's what. How about you?
We'll definitely see what's what next week.
Yeah.
I'm actually very excited about this show. Like, I know I said about a couple of shows. I was very excited to watch The Boys when we're discussing that, and I was having a ball when we were discussing Peacemaker. Peacemaker was a highlight for me. You guys haven't had a chance, check out Peacemaker on HBO. It's funny with John Cena. You can actually see him in this show. It was very funny, and The Boys was another highlight for me. Brilliant. So I am. I'm excited for the show. I can't wait for next week. I'm hoping they don't disappoint. We got 2 good episodes in a row. Let's make it 3. That's all I'm saying.
Let's do it.
We're gonna be closing out the show, guys. Don't forget to check out 3E Customs. They sponsor the show. Check them out. They have really great stuff. Anything that you guys want to print out, these guys will make it happen. At least check out their website. They're just very nice people. And what else you have to let our viewers know?
Listen, we'll be back here next week. You should be here too. As the shows start releasing, and actually, I think I'm just going to throw this out here. We haven't talked about it, but maybe we should do a watcher pass on the Apple show Surface. I think there's some things there. So we'll see. But as more shows start launching for this fall season, we're gonna address them. So we'll be here for the next episode. You should be here too. Until that time, I'm Mystery, and this is Lion, and we are
Unstructured.
That's right.
Peace.